Hey bass players, today we're going to be playing Escape by Kevin Sluter. I'll play through the entire piece at 120 BPM so you have an idea of what it sounds like. Then we'll go through and break down the hard parts piece by piece. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. What? Skirt? What? Yeah. 3, 4. Getting tired. Getting tired. Alright, so let's break this down. One thing to notice about this piece is that we're usually not playing our notes at full value. That means we're not playing eighth notes very full, and we're not playing quarter notes for an entire quarter note. Let me show you what I mean. In the first measure, we have 2 eighth notes followed by a quarter note. I'll just play the first measure so you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again. Notice when we get to that quarter note, which has a staccato, it's shorter. We're not holding it out for the full value like this. We're cutting it short. Just pushing, popping, and staying away from it. Our eighth notes aren't full value either. We're just kind of bouncing on the string a little bit, aren't we? Well, how do we accomplish this stroke? It really is sort of like a punch into the instrument, especially when you're playing bass. So instead of setting the string and dragging it across fully, what we're doing is applying enough pressure to actually pop the string. That's how you get your first one started, and then after that, you kind of bounce. Let me give you a closer look. Here we are. So let's talk about a few things. I'm right around here in the bow. Really, you want to be near the balance point. Mine is right about there. If you pinch the bow between your fingers, you'll find a balance point. You see, this way, it tips towards the tip. This way, it tips towards the frog. But if I grab it in the right spot, I'll find that balance point. And that's right about where you want to play the string. There it is. Secondly, I'm not setting the bow on the string and just digging in. Instead, I'm coming at it in a sort of U shape. A U shape that allows me to dig into the string and then lighten and bounce off. Let me give you a side view. You can see my hand making that small U shape. And from this side, you can see that the bow isn't staying completely on the string. Instead, it's bouncing. With that basic technique down, we can go to the first challenge in our piece. Let's take a look at measure 2. This motif will repeat throughout the piece, so once you got it down, the rest of the piece should come a little more naturally. Check it out. We have three B's in a row, and on the 4th eighth note, we have a G that's longer. It's tied to the next 8th note. When we have a tied bowing in this piece, that's the only time we're really going to hold an 8th note to its full value. So let's see what that sounds like. Here's measure 2. So what am I doing there? I'm playing down, up, down. And when I go to play my up bow, I have to change strings, don't I? You have two choices here. You can either play G on the D string by shifting up by a half step, B, 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 shift up a half step to C, and then 4th finger G on the D string. Or you could play it open G. It might be easier in your left hand, but that means you have to cross 2 strings, from the A string all the way to the open G. No matter which string you choose, you have to remember one thing. It's important to set the bow on the next string before you play. When we're moving this quickly, it's difficult to do, but if you practice at a slow tempo, you'll be able to get it. Let's talk about 21. Let's look at measure 21. Here we have half notes all the way to measure 29. But these half notes, once again, aren't going to be the half notes you're used to, played absolutely full value. We're not the most important part of the music at this part. So what we need to do is attack the beginning of the half note and sort of fade out, almost decrescendo, each half note so that the other instruments can speak through, and so we're not taking up way too much space, as we already do. For the point of demonstration, I'll play 21 at 90 BPM so you can really hear how much softer I'm getting between the beginnings of each half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice I'm leaving a little gap between each half note. They don't need to be full value, and more importantly, we're articulating the beginning and then backing off so the rest of the orchestra can have its moment to shine. Let's take a look at measure 36. What we see here is a stream of 8th notes, but not all 8th notes are going to be treated equally in this situation. As you can see, we have an accent on the 1st 8th note, on the 4th 8th note, and the 7th 8th note. What this does is create a different rhythm that's being accentuated by our accents within this stream of 8th notes. So how are we executing these accents? Well, we're still maintaining this sense of bounce in our bow. We're not really pulling it any longer, but we are applying a little bit more force. I want you to think about bouncing a rubber ball. If you want the ball to come up to the same height over and over again, you'll apply the same amount of force. But if you want the ball to suddenly jump up and hit the ceiling so you can scare the neighbors upstairs, you're going to apply a lot more force in your arm and it'll skyrocket. That's what we're doing with the bow. Every time we accent, we're just whipping our hand a little bit more into the string to add that extra oomph. So let's try that. 36. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Notice how much character those accents add. Bum, 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 bum. All right, basses, keep on practicing and you will have this piece down in no time. Don't sweat the small mistakes. When we're playing a longer piece like this, it's easy to lose focus and make little flubs here and there. But always make sure to practice your hot spots so when the spotlight is on you and it's your turn to rise out of the musical texture, you are spot on and always on point. See you next time.